hot button.
Fucking clouds ruining the eclipse. So mad.
I had my window blinds open because I was like, when it starts to get dark out, that means the eclipse is happening, right?
Yeah.
Then I'll go out because I couldn't find the time that it happened online because it's different everywhere.
I think it's 3:15 is
Something like that.
Totality.
And
Yeah.
I noticed around 3 o'clock that it was starting to get real dark out, and I was like, oh, and I went outside and it was just cloudy.
Yeah. The real kicker is that it was sunny all morning, and then it got cloudy for maybe about a half hour, the exact length of like all the good parts of the eclipse, and then it got sunny again. It was just a middle finger.
I don't know what the big deal was. I was just staring into the sky at exactly 3:15. Didn't hurt my eyes at all.
It could have been worse. We could have been a friend of the show, Dave, that drove out to the Finger Lakes to get the best view.
I mean, you got to go to the Finger Lakes at least. But
yeah. You were, Sean, you were telling me before that you drove by like old folks' home, and it was everyone's
There's a manor in my local town, and they just had all these old people out on like on those unfoldable chairs, and they're all looking up as I'm going to pick my son up from school. And they must have been really disappointed.
That ain't a metaphor for life. That's
I mean, dark joke, but they're going to be dead before the next one happens.
I immediately.
So am I. I mean, it's 2044 is going to be the next one here.
That was my immediate
Knowing
thought.
my luck, I'll be alive.
It's like, oh, we get to take this memory to the grave where there's no consciousness and not be able to think about the fact. You think they're in heaven right now going, wasn't it cool we got to see that? So
if I was old and believed in God and tried to see an eclipse and it was cloudy, I would just off myself there. I'd be like, this is an omen. Nothing good's coming up.
Speaking of, oh geez, how do I intro this? What do you get when you combine the rise of smartphone apps with simple addictive gameplay and accusations of plagiarism? What about
Angry Birds?
What about a misanthropic creator who is suffering from their unwanted fame? Yeah. Then just add in multiple controversies, limited scarcity, a wave of clones, and loads of cash. Why, it's the story of Flappy Bird, a sorta now long delisted and blatantly stolen little mobile title whose short-lived viral sensation turned legacy can still be felt today through, like I said, the rip-offs and Easter eggs, a couple other stuff we'll get into. I know this is a rather silly topic. It is almost strange to think how big of a deal it was at the time. That time being 2013, an absolute stellar year for the industry. There was The Last of Us, BioShock Infinite, and GTA 5. Not to mention the launches of new hardware with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And yet somehow this was one of the most discussed releases in all of games media back then.
Right. And today we will answer the question, what had more of an influence on the gaming industry, Grand Theft Auto 5 or Flappy Bird?
That's the debate. It's always surprising when a sleeper hit such as these emerge. Your Among Us's, most recently Helldivers 2, truly unexpected successes. Except,
I don't know if I'd call Helldivers 2 sleeper.
Well, you know.
Only because Among Us was out for like 5 years before it got popular.
It exceeded their expectations. Yeah. But what made this thing different? Well, unlike those examples, Flappy Bird was painfully uninteresting. And everybody knew it. That shit didn't matter. This spread like wildfire regardless.
That's subjective.
So much so that it directly led to its downfall. So let's strap in and recount the tale. This is Hot Button. I'm Randall Beatrice, here with Austin Blakesley.
Yo.
And Sean Chambers.
I'm flapping my bird right now.
Yeah, let's get Flappy.
You said plagiarism at the start. I do want to know why they found out my bedroom nickname and named this app after it.
Is that what your wife calls you, Flappy Bird?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we can't cover the subject at hand without
cute.
looking into the mind behind it. 28-year-old Vietnamese artist and software engineer Dong Nguyen. Nguyen was
Dong.
Nguyen.
Sorry. Flappy Bird. Dong.
Nguyen was born in Van Phuc.
Okay.
A small, quiet village near Hanoi, known for its silk production. Sorry,
I've been there in a video game.
To be fair to Dong,
Yeah.
that is also the name of their currency.
Dongs?
It's true.
So it would be like being called
Dollar.
Money.
yeah, Dollar Washington or something like that.
Cool.
Yeah,
Money Franklin.
I guess Dollar Smith.
And Van Fuck is there. That's great.
Van Fuck is my Van Halen cover band. It's all sex. It's all sex themed parodies of Van Halen. Oh, I guess it's just Van Halen songs then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they did like Love Gun, right? But that was Kiss.
Yeah, actually, Van
No,
Halen's
they did Too
less
Hot for
sexy
Teacher,
than-
right?
They did.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So he lived with his parents. Father owned a hardware store. His mother was a government employee. They weren't exactly wealthy either. He worked as a programmer for a company that designed location devices for taxis. Coding was a hobby that he had been regularly practicing since he was 16. This inspired by his admiration of Super Mario Brothers as a kid. I can relate. When his family was eventually able to afford him a bootleg NES, that's like... I tried finding like which console this was exactly, and I
What the hell is a bootleg NES?
It wasn't a legitimate NES from...
Or was it like
That was very common.
Yeah.
Super Marcus Brothers or something?
Yeah. What if it wasn't actually the real Super Mario Brothers that he thought he was like?
It was very common back in the day.
No, yeah, I
it was
know.
like Nintendo, like all those console manufacturers put them out in America and Japan and Europe, and then we're just like, yep, that's the world. And then you have places like South America, Central America, Africa,
this still
Asia.
goes down.
Oh yeah, China.
I mean, we could just go on Amazon and buy all the plug and play shit from China.
I mean,
Dig into that
there's
right now.
still a company that makes PS2s in Brazil.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, Van Fuck Hanoi probably doesn't list very high on the priorities.
They love the PS2 and the Mega Drive. right?
Nintendo launched the Nintendo Entertainment System. They went, we forgot Van Fuck.
So he practiced his skills by making a digital version of chess. You had to do that in college, Austin. That's why you hate chess. His former
No, I hate chess because I had to design a chess AI
right that had to like beat.
that had to beat my teacher, and it was all just a big thing to pump up my teacher's ego because chess AIs are not easy. And also, he was like, I hate chess because chess is like a dick measuring contest for intelligence when it's all memorization.
Yeah, that's why I'm not smart, but I like chess. I'm good at it. Good enough.
Sure. It's a skill set, and it's an impressive skill set, but
This teacher sounds like a.
I have met some really stupid people. Not talking about you. I've met some really stupid people who are amazing at chess, and I've met some very smart people who suck at chess.
Anybody
everybody's
that's a
intelligence
savant
is
at
different.
one thing,
Yeah.
usually.
But yeah, that was just,
Usually
I hate chess because my teacher was just like, I'm going to show all of these 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids how good I am.
That's how you impress the
How good I am
millennial
at
crowd.
this game that's existed for thousands of years.
Oh, I thought he was
He also-
competing his AI against your AI.
No,
That would have been more fun.
he
That's
has
like
to-
a
battle
he
bot.
has to
he
beat-
stole it right from me.
he had to beat our AI.
Yeah, so he's just fluffing his piece.
Yeah, and then he spent most of the rest of the class talking about how he's on the waiting list for a Tesla.
Oh, shut
Ugh.
up. Oh, God.
And
What
I
a-
had a friend who took his class the year after me, and in that break in between, he got his Tesla, and apparently the chess thing was no longer a topic of conversation. He just bragged about his Tesla all day.
That's an insufferable person.
Uh-huh.
So his
Programmers very often insufferable. Little life lesson for you.
his former boss, Sung Boy Trong, sorry, apologies on that,
Sung boy.
spoke about how he never needed a supervisor to monitor him during his tenure. The competence there meant he didn't really have to report to anybody. So, self-sufficient at work.
Another very common thing with programmers.
Yeah.
Just want to be left alone. That's
Yep.
that's
Yep.
that's where it comes from.
While studying at a university at age 19, he even won an internship, placing in the top 20 at Punch Entertainment, one of the very few gaming studios in the country. So their projects were smaller scale. The library was mostly unrecognizable to me. They were mobile software.
Oh, I was gonna say,
There was-
yeah, somebody's got to develop all those games for those knockoff consoles.
There was Ego, Reign of Swords, Boom Goes the Earth 3D, Gunslinger. That one kind of sounds familiar. And Hunting Unlimited. But this was still a pretty cool achievement. Now their headquarters is based out of California, by the way. So they moved. But yeah, he contributed to a handful of their sports games until later, after acquiring an iPhone and discovering other breakout ripoff, Angry Birds.
I knew they would come up.
Yes, a massively popular reskin of Newgrounds' flash hit Crush the Castle, which in and of itself is an evolution of Castle Clout, a previously released web browser game. The only differentiator with this is that Armor Games, their developer, did generously ask and receive permission from the original uploader when they made Crust the Castle.
Also, Crust the Castle uses a trebuchet. So
Not a
Angry Birds is a
slingshot?
slingshot, so
Yeah.
it's...
well, yeah, I know, but like the slingshot, you just have to drag your finger and aim it. But
Yeah.
Crush the Castle didn't have the little dotted line. You had to, the ball had to swing, and then you had to click again to let go of it. It was a lot more strategy involved in Crush the Castle.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
we needed it dumbed down.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, those birds are so funny. They're so angry.
Yep.
and
Love 'em.
I think there's actually, because there were other knocoffs of that I think still came out before Angry Birds that like
Of Crush the Castle?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Flash games like that.
yeah. Anyway, Nguyen thought that their Angry Birds was quote too complicated, which I mean like a lot of young children and old folks were into it, so not sure about that one. I mean, for many it was probably their first foray into like a medium.
A fundamental misunderstanding of mobile gaming there.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a person in your life that never played video games but now has a smartphone, like I watch the games that my mom plays, and they are like, I'm over here playing Elden Ring, and I think they're equally complex.
Yeah. I mean, it's the
Like,
natural
get it-
trajectory to using smartphone. Like, you know, if you're going through apps, so and you're grasping kind of how menus work. And
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, getting to level like 500 in Candy Crush is no small feat.
Yeah, I've sunk in a lot of time into Candy Crush and Angry Birds.
Yep.
It's kind
And
of
that was like probably if you looked at my Steam like played list or hours played, both those games probably could be in the top like 20.
I mean, it's funny. Like Matt and Chris, other friends of the show, their mom had probably this like Farmville empire.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like, and it's like I don't think she's ever played in other games.
No.
It's just
Once you get
Once one
high,
clicks, that's-
once you get high enough level, you have to transfer over to Mob City, which is another
I remember
Facebook game.
So he didn't like the graphics, calling them crowded, possibly referring to the UI. He wished to create a more accessible as well as challenging experience for people that were, quote, always on the move. It wasn't long after the beginning of the app craze was taking off either, so it made sense. That, and upon noting the danger of pedestrians navigating the dense traffic in his hometown, leading to accidents if citizens were too distracted by their devices. So an epiphany struck, and tapping was the key.
I feel like if I was in the middle of a game of Angry Birds, I could navigate traffic more than if I was in the middle of a game of Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
I don't mean
Yeah,
I don't mean
actually,
to cut into the topic too
No,
much.
but
There's
when you
You'll
literally
get into what Flappy Bird
Yeah.
is, but like you cannot take your eyes off that fucking screen once the game starts.
No, you're right.
it's like procedural, progressive. Like you
is,
can't
yeah.
stop.
No.
Yeah,
Or you-
exactly.
Like in between the birds, the variation of birds that you're slinging,
Yeah.
there's like a moment to like look up.
There is. Once you launch, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Can't get into a rhythm of holding and tapping.
So he spent a single holiday weekend making the Flappy Bird. We all know and, well, not love, but we're aware of, I guess. Also, the said national holiday was Reunification Day. It celebrates the end of the Vietnam War there. But he got to it, coding away in his room underneath his Mario posters. I feel like I'm glorifying this venture considering the final product we saw. But
Yeah, I
That bird
wonder.
did look-
If his. I wonder if his love of Mario will come up later.
Well, then now that I think of it, I'm getting an image of the game in my head. That bird looked like the fish
Sure
Yeah.
does.
from Mario.
It does.
Yeah. And this wasn't his first dive into the field. Earlier, he had made and released Shuriken Block a month. This is a month prior, actually, where the objective was to dodge incoming ninja stars from 5 tiny enemy guys. Again, by tapping the single instruction on screen. It was told to be, quote, deceptively ruthless, potentially motivated by recent online interest in the masocore genre, or games that are masochistically difficult. Although there is a difference, in my opinion, between something that's hard, that's well made, like Dark Souls or Hotline Miami, and something that is hard because it's shitty, like Superman 64, Bubsy, you know. Regardless, he was pleased with the work despite weak sales. His next project had to be even simpler, though. That was his goal.
These people are too stupid. I just have to reduce the reduction.
So now instead of tapping on a specific area, he changed it so you could tap anywhere.
Whoa, innovative.
Yeah. He then started drawing a pixelated Cheep, like bird on his computer, along with the Mario-style pipes.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Of course. How could I forget?
Influenced by Paddleball, a game where very few players would successfully bounce the ball more than a couple times, even if anybody could pick it up. He tuned the physics so heavily that the character would be constantly fighting against the strong gravity, predicting the foreseen difficulty. He attempted to make the deaths from the failure states entertaining before settling on a basic faceplant animation. This was no Happy Wheels in that department.
Yeah, the bird explodes, splatters your screen with blood.
He then sifted through hundreds of effects via a sound library and chose a cartoony thwack sample when you crashed. He thought it was funny. So what exactly was it from a consumer's perspective? It was early 2000s Flash title, Helicopter, just with a Mario Brothers-like aesthetic. In Helicopter, freeware that was passed around on many websites, from Addicting Games to E-Bombs World, the player would keep a continuously dropping helicopter in the air by clicking the mouse for height as it automatically scrolled through an environment of randomly generated obstacles for a high score. It was plain, but effective enough to kill a few minutes during your internet scrolling. You know, what are you doing back then in like the early 2000s on that PC?
Shitting. Well, no, I'm sorry. On my phone.
Oh, no,
this would be a perfect.
This
would be a perfect game for my phone while I'm shitting.
That's just shit posting.
No, yeah, actually, my computer chair is my toilet, so I don't ever have to get up.
Got a hole in it?
Yeah.
Flappy Bird was no different. Only the helicopter was replaced by that flying fish bird thing. More or less resembling... It's almost like a cross between a Cheep and a Big Bertha from like Mario Brothers 3. Sorry, Super Mario Brothers 3. He claims that the, quote, Fabby sprite was from a canceled 2012 platformer he was working on. All right, so Fabby's the chopper, while the cliffs protruding from the ceiling and floor were turned into altered version of the pipe from SMB1, as we mentioned.
Hold on.
Even the backgrounds themselves mimicked the look of old school Mario.
Yeah, just because it's based on Fabby doesn't mean you couldn't have stolen the design from Mario.
I call it this now.
Yeah. I had already had this one. I already made it. Trust me. It's like, yeah, where'd you get the inspiration for that from?
But it was your classic arcade style score chaser, a 2D auto scroller. The only major twist in the formula was in its control scheme. Lifting this concept to a portable touch interface meant the core mechanic had to utilize finger taps rather than buttons. You'd go persistently to the right, forever steering through gaps till you fuck up and strike a pipe or a piece of the geometry. I'm trying to describe it as if you haven't seen it, but you figure it out in
I was
like
gonna say,
seconds
this
with a
is
visual.
all unnecessary.
Yeah, you guys
I
get
feel
it
like
now.
this touched the hearts of many.
Yeah,
Have you been to a Dave and Buster's in the last decade? Because there's 5 of them.
I
there.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Doodle Jump. But tap to ascend.
That's dope.
Stop tapping to
Hey,
descend.
don't insult Doodle Jump.
Blind Rider, just will you chill?
Those are real games. You're awarded 1 point for every gap you pass through. At the end, you're given a bronze for making it to at least 10, silver for 20, gold for 30, platinum for 40 or more. Just about any person with even a modicum of game development know-how could program this. You can create a hot button when themed, Austin.
Oh, I'm gonna do.
You make the button fly just for no reason.
All right, I'm gonna try and do that.
Yeah.
Not before this episode comes out because I don't have that much time. But
We'll revisit this.
so keep an
ignore-
eye on the hot button Twitter and website because I'm gonna try. We'll see.
Yeah, it only took him a weekend.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. The next Unification Day. You know,
When's that?
I don't know. You
Look it
can
up.
Google it. So ignoring the obvious similarities, Nguyen doesn't reference Helicopter anywhere in his later interviews, but insists the gameplay solely originated from the act of that ping pong ball thing. I have my doubts on this, but take it as you will.
Wait, what's a ping pong ball thing?
What? Remember, he said it was like he wanted to make it, or not ping pong, paddle ball.
Paddle ball.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So you could use a ping pong ball. paddle.
October 3rd, 2024 is Unification Day. I got time.
All right.
Yeah.
A little close to Halloween. But so he initially also came to the conclusion that it was too easy and decided to increase the challenge in the final build to have it be less boring. He did, however, always intend for the release to be free, as money would be collected by in-game advertisements, a path he considered common for the Japanese mobile market that he followed. I mean, now that tactic is used everywhere, of course. So yeah, the game's finished. In order to submit it for online stores, it just had to get certified and be listed under a publisher name. He chose Dot Gears, whose products would be, quote, heavily influenced by retro pixelated games in its golden age. Everything is pure, extremely hard, and incredibly fun to play. Yep.
That's his
apparently
company
he only
motto?
Yeah. Apparently he only remembered that middle trait there.
Hold on.
That reminds me of like the episode you guys did recently where it was like Nibble. And I was wondering, why is this tech magazine called Nibble? Oh, because it's different than a bite.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And okay. Yeah.
I have to look something up. Tiny Wings.
Tiny Wings?
Okay. When did Flappy Bird come out?
2013.
2013, yeah.
Okay, Tiny Wings was 2 years earlier. You ever play Tiny Wings?
Mm-mm. It sounds familiar, though.
It does.
All right. Tell me if this screenshot doesn't at least somewhat remind you of the bird from Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
Wait, let me see. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Tiny Wings was a game where there's like peaks and valleys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the bird is moving forward, but if you hold the screen down, the bird nosedives, and you have to try to get it to nosedive into the valley and then come out. And then when you let go, it opens its wings and glides.
Oh.
And you have to try to get it to go as far as possible.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah, better than this.
Way more
also-
innovative and
It's a game with a bird,
Yeah.
but it has its own art style and came out 2 years earlier.
So he was on also on record exclaiming how contemporary Western games got too complex. And he ain't totally wrong.
Are you a
I
noodle
suppose.
brain?
Yeah.
No. It's calling out the West.
Yeah, so now we're at launch day.
I mean,
He
he's
did.
not wrong, but,
Yeah, but
mobile games,
Yeah.
Eastern mobile games are far more complicated than Western console games.
Agreed. Yeah.
All those fucking
You play gotcha, any gotcha game ever?
all the
Tell me-
JRPG themed ones.
Yeah.
Tell me how to like upgrade a character in like Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and then
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, it's
That's
more
the
complicated
funny
than
thing.
playing through half the
If
video
you-
games we play.
I know I'm making kind of a sweeping generalization here, but a lot of you can tell a lot of games are developed in Japan by how they handle text. Like they're so verbose and it's just all over the screen.
That is
like,
actually, there is a couple, I don't have the names, there are a couple great YouTube videos on why that is.
really.
It has to do with, if you look at movie posters, box arts for video
Yeah.
games,
I mean, it probably has something to do
advertisements,
with
the graphic design in Japan is very text heavy, and graphic design in the West is very text
Minimal.
light, very
Yeah.
minimal.
Yeah.
Like even if you go on a website on
Yeah.
Japan, it's just loaded. But like go on the Japanese version of any American website, and it's just overload of text, and that is how they like it.
That makes sense
Sure.
too because of
And it's a
all
difference in the
those
culture and
all
the
those
out-
like Japanese movie posters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you'll see like shirts designed that are like a US movie and then
Yeah.
they just add a bunch of their
they
characters.
like
and stuff.
information.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes I can vibe with that because there will be like instances of we oversimplify things to the point that nothing has a power button anymore.
Yeah.
And that drives me insane.
Yeah.
You know, like so sorry, yeah, launch day. It was first downloadable on May 24th, 2013 for Apple's iPhone 5.
I feel like it didn't take off until take off.
There will be a reason for that.
Yeah.
They'd eventually ported over to iOS 7 that September. But they're seeing just about no attention from outlets, likely getting lost in the shuffle. Hell, its first shout on social media wasn't until 5 months after its release on November 4th with a 3-word tweet reading, quote, "Fuck Flappy Bird." Just like from a random user. So those that did retrospectively review it later understandably weren't kind. Wait. Before we get into that, did either you guys play it when it was available?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
It swept the nation.
Or Helicopter, for that matter.
Oh, I played.
Yeah,
I
I
played a
played-
shit ton of
yeah,
both.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I did not. I did play Helicopter, but I got what I needed out of that. There was far better Flash stuff out there to dig into. This wasn't no Trials or Bush Shootout or Madness Interactive, you know?
No, I was one of the people that had Flappy Bird on my phone when it Got taken off the store.
Okay. Where's that phone now? Where's either of those phones?
In the garbage.
Dude.
It's like when I traded in my PS4
made
that had
some money.
PT on it. I was like,
I'm
so
can't do
stupid.
that.
I'm so stupid. Totally forgot.
All right, so here we are, another round of the Metacritic game. Can you believe it?
This had a Metacritic?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
hilarious. Yeah.
Who wants to take a swing?
23.
Okay.
47.
Ooh, it landed a 52.
Oh, what?
Oh, it's
52 out
close.
of
Oh, it's
100.
Wait,
close.
you said they weren't kind.
That's bad for a video game. Remember, the average is like,
All right.
people think a 7 is shit.
Well, Metacritic is
According to Metacritic, anything that is 75 or below is yellow.
Yes.
And anything that's 60 or below is red.
And then below 50 is...
a tomato.
Is it? Yeah, I forget where red begins. Is it under 60? I think it's under 60.
It's under 60. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but hey, this was close to last year's Call of Duty.
Still so sour about that, huh?
I am. This is for our fantasy draft. There were write-ups from the Huffington Post who declared it as a, quote, insanely irritating, difficult, and frustrating game which combines a super steep difficulty curve with bad, boring graphics and jerky movement. IGN handed it a 5.4, remarking that it was addictive as it is shallow. Although apart from the critiques on replayability and the no skill requirement, said it was fine as a short-term distraction for casual score-obsessed users. I believe there was a leaderboard to climb if you felt so inclined. Others declared its unfair nature, with one editor saying that it's stating that it took them a half an hour to hit only 5 points. So
Yeah.
get good, nerd.
So that's
any of you recall what your
so that's what I
how high
remember
you
when
got?
you were talking about how he did like a last minute adjustment to increase the difficulty.
Yeah.
It had to be on the gravity because it
falls like a fucking rock.
yeah, exactly. So that was what I remember the most. I wasn't it was literally like, oh, what's this all about? Install, and then like, oh, it's nothing.
Oh, you know what? I think I did play it. I think I played it on a friend's phone though,
Mm-hmm.
because this might have been before. No, I had my first smartphone.
You were worried about putting that Vietnamese spyware on your phone.
I don't think you had a smartphone yet.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. But maybe I played it on your phone.
For a while, he was like, "Who needs a smartphone, right?"
Yeah.
Idiot.
I never said that exactly.
I'll use this dumb phone.
It was that. I mean, hey,
close.
at the end of the day, I think we'd all be happier without them. So
That
we'll never know.
Yeah.
I know you can put the toothpaste back in that tube.
I don't.
But the thing that I was complaining about was like I had a semi-smartphone that did enough, and then
semi-smartphone. As we're talking about Flappy Bird, I just think semi-chub. No, honestly, if you didn't have a smartphone, you probably end up like Ted Kaczynski, just making pipe bombs and fucking sending them up. Is that the future you want? That's what he's trying to stop.
But yeah, this all was pretty much expected. US Gamer slammed it with a 1 out of 5, Slide to Play a 5, Arcade Sushi a 35, Digital Spy and Game Zebo were the most generous with a 6 and a 7, with the former summarizing it with, quote, "It's simultaneously everything that is right and wrong about video games."
I was going to say mobile video games.
Just wait till the clickers come along.
Yeah.
It's habit forming factor.
Well,
was
it's the
sole
clickers.
positive attribute.
It's the idle games, unless you're
whoa.
categorizing them as... I love
Don't
Cookie
you
Clicker.
dare.
I loved when I double my grandma's.
I'm a
That's my
Vampire
favorite part.
Survivors fan, and that game is also like fools you into thinking.
I will end this. This episode will
That's
never
more
see the
than-
light of day if you say anything bad about Cookie Clicker.
I saw somebody comparing
Or
it to
Candy
popping bubble wrap. I thought
That's
that was
good.
a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
analogy.
Yeah.
But no, it sucked essentially.
That's what he's going for, too.
Yeah,
He's like, I have to make it dumber. Dumber. Dumber.
These people. Though there were a couple interesting takes weighed in by industry veterans. Pong creator and Atari founder Nolan Bushnell saw similarities to his own creations since, quote, "simple games are more satisfying."
It's the greatest game since Pong. I would love if that fucking crazy maniac said something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the greatest game since Pong, the creator of Pong.
Says the creator
Yeah.
of Pong.
Yeah.
Put that on your back of the box.
Yeah.
Previous topic and grandfather of Doom, John Romero, spoke about how Flappy Bird was a quote, a reaction against prevailing design the way grunge was a reaction to metal.
What?
I don't yeah, I don't know about that one.
Flappy Bird is the Nirvana of video games.
I still have long hair.
No,
Can you guys tell?
Flappy Bird is the Nickelback of video games.
It is, yeah.
And user ratings were even worse with a 40 out of 100. People everywhere were quick to point out the rampant plagiarized assets and unapologetic thefts on the idea itself.
Yeah, you guys, this all looks really familiar.
Yeah.
Just like that's, I feel like the whole world was
yes,
echoing
was
that.
just that.
And nobody was like, obviously we're just civilians that aren't going to do anything about it.
All of our collective eyebrows.
Yeah.
Just
Huh? That's hilarious.
This was whatever, though, because if our story concluded there, then we wouldn't be here covering this. So what skyrocketed this thing into the cultural lexicon? It was competing against an average of 25,000 other apps getting uploaded on these marketplaces monthly.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, remember the beer drinking one and the fart one and the toast one and the lightsaber
Those
one?
aren't
Did you ever
real.
see the beer drinking the one? It was
Oh, that one.
Eddie Burback and Nikki Jakey,
Oh yeah,
the GIF
yeah.
where Nikki Jakey pulls out his phone and he just starts drinking it, and Eddie Burback's just like just looking at him wide eyed. So good. By the way, this GIF was in like 2018.
Yeah,
It's like a decade
Way
and a
long
half after
shit.
that.
I'll never forget being in school and every day people downloading more like
Uh-huh.
it's like, oh, it's it's toast and then or it's a toaster and then when you tap it, the toast pops out and then
Much like
we were so easily entertained by
Well, no.
that.
much like every like revolution in technology,
Yeah.
the beginning was the Wild West, and it was beautiful.
That was pure.
I still don't understand how
It was like
Untainted.
it was like Web 1.0, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like when websites were all like individually
Why did people do
owned
it?
and-
Just cause? Do you remember like this is totally off the cuff, but there was an app that was like they wanted to see the max price that you could charge for it.
Yeah.
And then it was like a diamond that bounced around your screen on a black screen. And it was like a $25,000 app or
Yeah.
$100,000 app or something like that.
That's how I'd flex.
And well, that's the thing. I think he said like it got approved by Apple, and he said, and they were like, "Did anybody buy it?" And he was like, "It was like 3 or 5 people bought it," and it was like, "Who can, dude?" It's like
Apple took
it's
30% of that
$500 million.
shit.
Yeah, of course Apple approved it.
Yeah.
If 3 people bought it, he made $75,000, but Apple took 30% of $75,000.
And he probably made it in like 10 minutes. What I wonder is like if you accidentally buy that, how do you think their refund policy?
They don't have one. Yeah.
Once you bought it, you broke it, you buy it. No, so this
I
is...
will say most people with iPhones probably that purchase would probably get declined by your
Well, not even that. I feel like...
or not be near your credit limit.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, like, I had such an aversion to any apps all the time.
No, me too. Yeah.
Like, I still don't understand how
Now I
Castle
have too many.
Crashers... I meant like all games.
I downloaded everything.
Yeah.
All the gaming apps?
I still do.
All game apps?
Yeah.
A lot of those games are like lost to time.
Well,
too,
I
which is
just speaking of which, this is really funny. I was waiting at the orthodontist.
Mhm.
Tyler had to get braces, and I'm like, I got an hour to kill.
Mm-hmm.
So I start looking through the apps, and I found one called Turmoil.
you don't just doom scroll Twitter like
No. I wanted something to actually like. It was great because it sucked all that time right by, and I downloaded this game. It was like all the recommended apps for like I forget what they were, but like something Sonic, NBA, whatever. And I downloaded one that was like it was called Turmoil, which is about like drilling and finding oil.
Oh, Turmoil.
Yeah, so it was about like competing with these NPCs and that was like I played it for like an hour, and I can't remember the last time I played a game before that. On a phone. It's just like I just don't go there for that, but I guess I'm not that clientele or the
I played Turmoil.
Did you? It's good.
It is.
It took me like 5 minutes to find something
Dude,
worth
I didn't even
it.
play Pokemon Go. I don't think I've touched a
download-
mobile game since the
Well,
No, that was probably it. That was
like
probably
Tetris
You have
it.
on my
you have an
flip
aversion to it,
Yeah.
but you know, you dig through 10,000 apps on your iPhone, you find a cut the rope. or
Yeah.
you find a doodle jump, or you find
Flappy
where's
Bird.
my water?
Yeah.
Couple of hentai dating sims, you know.
I've almost gotten that one that I've gotten ads for that one on I guess it's on like X or whatever. It's like you have to take the poles, like you take there's poles and there's a thread that connects them, and there's like a bunch of them, and they're all like you have to like
move the pegs so that they're all not crossing.
Almost
over.
got me. Almost got me.
the ones that every advertisement there's a correction, there's a community under that says this isn't the game.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
I love those community notes.
That is the best.
As we all have our vapes, everybody has their vices that they know is bad for them. Mine is going on TikTok and clicking download now on every mobile game ad they serve me. And
why?
I have space on your phone.
And playing it.
But why?
My data is all over Asia, dude. They know exactly who I am.
Yeah, don't be worried about Valorant.
So
I don't know, man. Sometimes you just, sometimes you just hate yourself and want to punish yourself for existing.
Some men
And
just
that's
like to
my
watch
version
the
of
world burn.
Yeah, that's my version of self-punishment.
all right, back to Flappy Bird. Nobody's really caring, you know.
No.
No attention. But then something happened. I got 3 words for y'all. PewDiePie.
I was gonna say I was gonna say YouTubers.
Yeah.
But
that's right. After many quiet months post-release, obnoxious, popular Swedish YouTube personality and notable N-word slinging piece of shit poster boy for white supremacists, PewDiePie, shared a video on his channel. Quote, Flappy Bird, don't play this game, in all caps. This was on January 27th, 2014, and it currently sits at nearly 37.7 million views. Jesus.
is it a video or just a tweet?
No, a video.
So
It's a Let's Play.
Do you really not? I don't understand the logic here. Don't play this game.
Well,
I guess
he's saying it's
the
like
clickbait.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course. And I don't know. I don't know much about if there's been any growth in PewDiePie's life these days.
He's better.
I've heard that too, and I think he's apologized for
Got a
some past
kid.
behaviors, and
Lives in
also
London.
a lot of infinitely more horrible
No.
people shot past him.
He
Right?
lives in Japan now.
Oh, that's right.
He does, yeah.
He recently did a Sea Dog VA, who's a Twitch streamer that I love. It does every year. He does a charity stream where he bikes across Japan in a certain direction, and he's doing it currently.
Yeah.
Except this year, it's a full week, and every day he's joined by another content creator that lives in Japan. So one of the days, PewDiePie did it with him.
All right.
That's
He
cool.
seems
all right, yeah.
reformed.
Okay, good. I mean, but my memory of PewDiePie is like
He's still-
from like it's like
still not-
2011, where he's just
he's still
yelling rape jokes. And
Yeah, he is a victim of the early internet. He's
Right.
still
He
not
was
the
a
best
kid
person in the world,
back then, so.
but he seems a lot gentler now.
That's
I would say he's like the first one that had to deal with like massive success and attention.
Yeah, and blowback for everything that
Right.
you.
And now you have guys
Yeah,
like he ran so XQC could walk. That's essentially the best way.
fucking
I mean,
hate
he-
XQC, yeah.
PewDiePie.
What do you mean, man?
The funny
What do you
thing
mean?
is,
Chatta.
I
What do you mean?
I hate
What do you mean, man?
XQC. The funny thing
Can
is,
you believe this?
not to
you
go
believe
off
this,
on
man?
too much of a tangent, but the funny thing is, PewDiePie walked so that all of Twitch could run.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And I think part of my thing of being like, PewDiePie's better now is that like he was a victim of the early internet.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like, he grew up in Sweden and he might have slung an N-word and regretted it, but
I mean, listen, none of us
But
would
what-
want to hear what we were probably on
yeah,
the 360.
exactly.
like,
But what
Xbox
has
Live
happened
back in the day.
since with everybody that came after him?
Mm-hmm.
He's nothing.
That's true.
Right.
That's very true.
We got people turning people just straight to the alt-right.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
No, I knew that even writing that, I was like, this is mean and probably outdated, but
it is.
Yeah, I was
but-
gonna say.
but he also
came
he
from
also-
Zach.
I rescind.
He also deserves it though.
Yeah. a
Like
little bit.
he apologized for his mistakes, but he still made those mistakes.
Yeah. What about Christchurch? Do you ever comment on that?
I think so.
Okay.
Probably.
I'm not familiar.
I don't know.
That was the mass shooting where the
I mean, I
the
could
guy
be-
said
I could be
subscribe to PewDiePie before he
Oh,
murdered a
yeah.
bunch of Muslim
I
people.
think
I'm
I
sure
could.
he has.
He commented on the T-Series thing and how
Yeah,
racist
yeah,
it
yeah.
got. I know that. I don't know. I can be more controversial and say that like I'd still prefer to watch PewDiePie's content over Mr. Beast's content. And by all accounts, Mr. Beast seems like a way better person.
Right.
But it's just like at least PewDiePie is an idiot that got successful, whereas like Mr. Beast has engineered his life to be successful.
Did you see the like interviews where he like admitted that he just flat out says he's like not a person?
Yeah,
like that is like the great like.
I saw a video recently. He sleeps at his compound, like at the place where he's
like all I can think about is content, and that's my whole life, and I don't have a life.
He's literally content brain.
And I was like, I don't think it like is. He depressed. I don't know. Like
he doesn't have time to be.
Yeah,
he's
just a robot.
Oh yeah, he literally did an interview where they were like, "What's your schedule like?" And he pulled up his like Google Calendar, and this was an interview that was in like August, and he had planned till the next March all the videos that he was going to do.
Yep,
and all the like product meetings he had for like Mr. Beast Burger and his stupid chocolates, and it's like, look,
he's big in the candy world.
PewDiePie might be a racist, but
I'll lay off him for the rest.
There's some sincerity to the racism. He's not a robot that is designed to make content.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where we're at as a society, that I have thoughts like that, and that might be controversial, but whatever, man.
Yeah. Now, you could argue that even this examination that PewDiePie did was a result of a somewhat active Reddit thread started back in November 2013 by user Bronexera? I don't know. Bringing up the title on a list of their masochistic, there's that word again, iOS games on the iPhone sub. So one profile named Transislator? I hope that isn't offensive. I don't know. So even posted a reply underneath shouting, quote, "Please help Flappy Bird take off." Could have been a bit. Except they wrote about how their good friend's uncle was Dong Nguyen himself, and that the support would be greatly appreciated. It's about as boots on the ground as a campaign can get. So,
does Dong Nguyen have a sister or a brother? You know?
I mean, it's probably.
Is this like in my uncle worked at a Nintendo thing, or is that possible? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, you're.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, but
I didn't read any other family members, but it could have.
No, this dude is in his early 20s, correct?
Was.
Yeah, he's 28, 27 right now.
That makes more sense. Okay, yeah. I thought he was like 22.
Yeah, well, regardless of all that, my dad really does own a dealership, so
okay,
you shouldn't mess with me.
28.
My uncle works in Nintendo.
Hey, can you ask him what's going on with
well, he works in Nintendo
F-Zero
America, so he doesn't know anything.
No power at all.
He has no power at all.
Can he tell us what Doug Bowser's really like?
Bald.
Yeah.
Same.
I can't believe his name is actually Doug Bowser, and then the kid that Nintendo recently sued into oblivion for the emulation stuff also had the last name Bowser. I was like,
very popular last name.
Is it? Like, that's so weird. Now, we might never know if that's what led to the PewDiePie coverage or not, though it is suspected.
And YouTubers do that shit all the time.
Yeah. They'll scan the boards.
Like I said on the Mountain Dew Game Jam episode, I found out about that through a Many Kudos video, and Many Kudos linked directly to the Reddit thread. He found out about it, which I also referenced.
It all comes back.
Yep.
Within only hours, it shot to the top of the iOS charts in both the US and China. In the UK, it was being touted as the new Angry Birds. So, they were viral. Nguyen then hastily assembled an Android version for the Google Play Store, which saw its debut on January 30th. This is just in the span of 3 days. Interestingly, this version was said to be slightly easier too. Maybe bugs were squished. This was prior to regular updates and patches being an incentive. So
yeah.
By the end of December, gaming circles and forums were alight with posters sharing their tormented testimonials and stories of people breaking their phones in anger. Perhaps this type of experience was new to those that didn't grow up with Flash or browser games. Stuff to tell.
Don't quote me on this, but I believe Flappy Bird might be one of the reasons why regular patches on the iOS store became a thing.
Really?
Because there was a lot of companies like Facebook and Amazon and stuff that were upset whenever something like this would catch on and shoot to the top of the charts. And then like these companies whose billion-dollar industries rely on being at the top of the Google Play and iOS charts are no longer at the top of the charts because some kid in Vietnam decided to make a massacre little mobile game. And so now if you on iOS, I don't know if this was before or after Flappy Bird, but now on iOS, if you update, it counts every update as a download for the purposes of the ordered list. So if you ever get an update for like Facebook or Twitter or Amazon on your phone and it just says like minor bug fixes and stuff.
That's what they always say.
Some of those patches have nothing other than a version number just so that they can reinforce their place.
I can't and that's still, it's been like that for so long.
I mean, Apple designed it that way because they make money off of those apps, you know.
Yeah.
But this soon spread all over YouTube and Reddit as well. It then nabbed the first place position for this iOS charts by January 17th, while then achieving it again on the Google Play Store a week later. It was seriously unprecedented and entirely illogical that this was even possible with so little advertising behind it.
Wait.
It really was all word of mouth.
Yeah. You really... You mean to tell me that somebody just posted on Reddit going, please play my uncle's game?
Yeah.
Really?
Led to this? And this shocked me.
I'd be asking for a cut.
It felt amazing, he said. However, it didn't take long for controversy to ensue. When questioned by Chocolate Lab, a site for app developers, Nguyen was adamant that he didn't engage with any promotional methods to grow his product. He single-handedly chalked it up to luck. The issue with this was
that's
when,
humble.
Yeah,
to call it luck instead of being like my game rules and everyone else sucks.
We're gonna go back and forth.
Okay,
on
all
him,
right.
Yeah, and then he's got reporters following him around.
Spoke too soon.
He's got reporters following him around on the street. Why are you on Jeffrey Epstein's log list? It's just like it goes from blessing to curse real fast.
It's not it's that extreme, but it's very like sometimes he's humbling and then the other minute he's arrogant, and it's just it's
yeah. I did that shit. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
So this first issue was when a professional marketer, Carl Thomas, had done his own research on the situation. He accused the creator of weaponizing bots to increase its awareness. Dong then soon retorted through an exchange with the Daily Telegraph that while he respected others' opinions, he just wished to make games in peace. As far as the matter with the bots goes, though, he commented, quote, "If I did fake it, should Apple let it live for months?" I mean, I've not the best response there, but some lost in translation.
It's kind of a tuned-up response.
Yeah.
It's Apple's fault it's still up there.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
You say what you want. I don't care. You're not looking at my checkbook purchases. Why is Apple leaving it?
Furthermore, there was the problematic artwork. Stephen Totilo with Kotaku initially wrote about how the pipe sprite was plucked straight from Mario, but then followed this up with a correction that it was technically a new, albeit unoriginal, drawing. It was then here on February 5th that Dong later stated in an interview with The Verge that he was earning $50,000 a day in revenue from its in-game advertisers that would be directly wired into his private bank account. And this was even with Apple and Google's 30% take.
Damn.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
He bought himself a new Mac, took his friends out to a nice dinner. This only shining the spotlight more on himself, but from
took a certain flight
from everybody besides his parents, who he didn't tell yet.
Oh, shit.
Explaining that they, quote, don't understand games.
I mean,
I feel like they'd ask about the money.
They understand money.
I mean, I'm sure they'd understand if you bought them a fucking mansion in Hanoi. Maybe they can get out of van fuck after this.
If I went up to my parents and said, I'm making $50,000 a day, anything I say after that is irrelevant.
Yeah.
They don't have to understand it.
You go up to your dad and you hand him a piece of paper, and it's like, you're the president of Vietnam now. How's that feel, Dad? I bought your seat, dude.
Yeah.
Soon his picture was all over the local newspapers and TV channels, which so it didn't take long for the word to get out. But this not only suffocated him, but this was when his family learned of his seemingly spontaneous notoriety.
Yeah. Can you just imagine? Hold on. Can you just imagine like their house, right? And it's like, Vietnam, I don't know what their situation looked like. Hanoi, like I said, there's been video game adaptations of what the villages in those places look like, right? Yeah. So they have like this like not doing great house, and then their parents just open his door, and it's like he's got a throne of gold. He's got like women feeding him grapes. There's a fucking like fountain of him as a statue pissing into like whatever, and just like And then he just like turns. He's like, "Yes, mother."
Yeah,
Just-
holding his
Yeah,
goblet.
Yeah. This is my enemy's skull.
Yeah.
A goblet full of Mountain Dew
I
Yeah.
got
coming from the piss fountain.
I got
Yeah.
promoted at the taxi job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So photographers swarmed his home as he stayed ducked inside, tweeting, "quote Please give me peace."
Yeah.
Now here's where it gets weird. In a highly unprecedented move, on February 8th, just 9 days since its first appearance on the Google Marketplace, the newfound fame went to his head on top of the harassment, or guilt must have began to sink in, as Nguyen would suddenly announce via Twitter at 2:02 a.m. that the hugely successful phenomenon was to be fully removed from both the iOS and Android stores, with the caption reading, quote, "I am sorry, Flappy Bird users. 22 hours from now, I will take Flappy Bird down. I cannot take this anymore." Reads like a suicide note.
Yeah, no, but like it makes sense. It's kind of like I read a story recently that person that won the jackpot literally, accepted it in a press release with a Scream mask on.
Yes,
Because they didn't want their family members to know. It's kind of like winning the lottery.
Yes, if you win the lottery, like do
Don't
not
let anybody know of
that
your
it was you.
Yeah,
Which is why they have policies that allow you to do it. And honestly, but
that was dope.
I
though.
think I may have brought this quote up before, but this reminds me of the Klon thing. I think I told you this story. There's a guitar pedal called the Klon Centaur, and it was a dude who was like, "I want an overdrive pedal that does this," and he couldn't find one, so he just made one. And then his friend liked it, so he made another one and gave it to his friend. And his friend showed that to people, and eventually he started selling them. He hand-built all of them, and then people from around the world started asking him to make this pedal, and he just went, "I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore." So he stopped, and then those pedals started going for like tens of thousands of dollars. They're all hand-built, and there's not that many of them. They're still worth like tens of thousands of dollars. He eventually teamed up with a company and made something called the Klon KTR, which they built. He didn't build them by hand. But there's a quote. It's just a red box like that.
yeah.
And there's a quote on it that says, "Kindly remember, the ridiculous hype that offends so many is not of my making."
Wow, that's
all the pedal says.
That's really honest.
None of the knobs or switches are labeled. It's just that one quote.
That's awesome.
This was, I know I've said the word unprecedented like many times today, but like this shit was crazy. Like who would, and the message was then retweeted over 145,000 times. It also unsurprisingly led to a rush of over 10 million more downloads before the poll.
Right.
So
FOMO.
yeah, get in while it's hot. He went on to elaborate that it wasn't out of fear of legal repercussion, either from Nintendo or whoever else, and that it was for personal reasons. Predictably, fans were stunned. That and who would cut off their jackpot income like this?
Yeah, seriously.
It was just completely insane. And he went through, like, he went through with it. He did what he said he would, sticking to his guns. By the 9th, it had totally disappeared. Obviously, you could still boot it up if you had previously downloaded it, but you couldn't. But if you didn't, then you were screwed.
Here's a question.
Plus, there'd be no attempts to transfer it over to newer systems as well. It was trapped on the phone forever.
If you had the app and it was gone from the App Store, but you were playing it, is it still connected to the ad server? Because then he's still making money because the game is free.
Ooh,
the ads are the
That's a
money.
good question.
Money for the ads is being charged when they're viewed, when they're loaded on the device, not when the game is downloaded. So I'm curious.
I would imagine so.
Oh, I don't know if he like disabled the ads because you have to have like deals with the people.
I can tell you confidently for all of the information that because he was willing to do a lot of interviews.
Yeah,
that was never once brought up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, also you said it was like top of the charts for 2 weeks, so we can presume we can do some iffy math and say that, like, let's say 1 week of that he's making $50,000 a day. That's still.
I don't think he didn't regret anything with the money. He just didn't like the
attention.
So that's why he.
That's what I'm saying. But
kind of
like,
getting stalked.
But like,
too.
if he can cut off the attention and still make some of that money, win-win.
Returning to the suspicion of potential lawsuits and accusations of plagiarism, according to several Vietnamese newspapers, such as the Thanh Nhân and their BBC affiliate, Flappy undeniably drew comparisons to not just Helicopter, but was also astonishingly close to a 2011 release in France from 2 years prior titled Pew Pew vs. Cactus, or Pio vs. Cactus, I don't know. It even sported the same screen tapping mechanic and central bird-like protagonist, along with the pipe obstacles.
Yeah.
What is fascinating about this observation, however, is that the eyebrow-raising originally came from reportings by many different French news organizations, including 20 Minutes and Metro News, who would display their findings on February 8th, the same day as Nguyen's Twitter post revealing the takedown went out. So
something stirring.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So yeah, so if you get caught, then you're immediately like,
I
pull
know.
the plug.
I know he said that, but I wonder if he's like got a cease and desist and was like, I'm taking this down because I don't want it on there.
That's what it feels like for sure.
Yeah.
Very possible. So even the man behind Pew Pew vs. Cactus, known as Keck,
Nice.
called out the shared DNA between them in his earlier talk with Pocket Gamer. This then led to him contacting Dong, who told him he, quote, doesn't think he knew about his game.
Interesting.
Reassuring. Just deny, or
yeah, this
I don't know, maybe
going back to when
it's very binary.
No. This is based on another sprite that I designed, which is definitely I have IP rights to now, and don't come after me.
Tech writer Patrick O'Rourke at Canada.com weighed in, repeating everything we already stated time and time again, that its primary function is identical to Pew Pew and Helicopter, that the altered sound effects were borrowed from Mario Brothers 2, sorry, not 2, T-O-O.
As well as.
Yeah, as well as. He wasn't fooling anyone. Speaking of, going into March, Toy Tray News, an English edition translated from their Vietnamese paper, reported that a local tech expert cited that this fast scramble to erase from existence was done to avoid a cease and desist from the Big N following its recent wave of popularity. So I just look up what Pew Pew.
I just showed Sean a screenshot of Pew Pew vs. Cactus.
It's interesting to say the least.
Yeah. This was entirely plausible, except allegations were denied by a Nintendo representative to the Wall Street Journal. Even lawyers in his native country supported this, stating that no copyrights were being violated. Technically, nor was it in response to Vietnam's policies on internet use.
All right.
Yeah.
So, small aside, for the thumbnail, I got an idea in my head.
Okay.
I'm going to do a pentagram with the Flappy Bird in the middle, and then the 5 points of the stars are going to be a cheap, or the fish.
Yeah.
The Pew Pew vs. Cactus bird, the Tiny Wings bird, an Angry Bird, and I need a fifth one.
Ooh.
Oh, the helicopter.
Yeah, helicopter.
Yeah. There you go. All right, I got to write that down.
Yeah, you got to remember this. So those rumors may have gotten squashed, but that still didn't explain what exactly happened. Meanwhile, outlets started to publish articles on how sellers on sites like eBay were flipping their used phones that had the app pre-installed and were posting them anywhere from basically $1,500 USD to a portion of listings receiving bids of over $90,000.
What? That's ridiculous.
Yeesh. Yeah.
I mean, that's preservation for you, but it's a little extreme. Wait, how does that work too? Because now everything's attached to your login.
I know. I wondered that. I
guess if they were selling them, and
yeah. I mean,
I'd want my info off of that thing.
Yeah, because you'd have to wipe the phone.
But at least if I'm giving my information to somebody, I'm getting $90,000 out of it. So.
Yeah, rather than you get your information stolen and not getting anything from work. What I want to know is that Austin, you might know this, did Apple have an account system back then when you were downloading apps?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're giving over your account. I guess you would just change your password and...
Yeah, or just detach your card information.
Yeah, that too. Back to our main figure. Nguyen briefly stayed silent and out of the public limelight. There was even hearsay that the stress and lawsuits from Nintendo drove him to commit suicide. This thankfully wasn't true, as he then took an official press interview with Forbes, where he would clear the air on the hit title's removal. It was in this discussion, though, that he'd unveil the actual reasoning. being that it was due to its sheer addictiveness. Quote, "It was designed to play in a few minutes when you were relaxed, but it happened to become an addictive problem. I think it had become a problem. To solve that problem, it's best to take down Flappy Bird. It's gone forever."
This smells so much like shit. Oh, I didn't want to contribute to the mental degradation of the generations to come.
Yeah.
You know, it was just, no, dude, you're
Please.
making money hand over fucking fist. There's gotta be a reason.
Yeah. He also went on to declare the shame that he had felt from it and that it was affecting his sleep. And that this was, like I said, yanking the shut it down was the only course of action to relieve his conscience. A benevolent stance on the delisting, sure, but it was still unusual considering his company. Remember, like, Dot Gear's core mission is to
make games as addicting as fucking possible.
Oh no, it's too addicting.
Yeah, and he had to readjust it to make things.
Yeah, all these other games are too simple and they require too much of your attention, and I'm going to take all that out. Oops, created an addiction.
Yeah, I don't know what he wants.
Yeah.
Soon after, he'd speak extensively with Rolling Stone magazine. I got a ton of info from this. So, the journalist David Kushner, even traveling to Vietnam himself to meet face to face.
Wait, isn't Kushner the guy who did a book? Didn't he write a book about something?
Yeah, isn't that the guy that did Masters of Doom?
Oh my gosh, was that him?
Yeah,
I think so.
Or
Kushner.
Yeah. I knew that just
name,
come up on the Daikatana one?
Yeah, no, that just reminded me because I kept thinking of the guy from Anchorman.
David Koechner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yes, Masters of Doom was a 2003 book by
Hell
David
yeah.
Kushner.
All right.
Oh man, he's still out there. Now he's reporting for Rolling Stone.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
It says on his
shit.
Wikipedia page, it says worked for many publications, including Wired, the New York Times, Rolling Stone, Spin, and Salon. So
yeah. So he's face to face with Dong.
Don't. You wrote that on purpose.
I actually didn't. That's not.
That was too easy. You gotta retract that.
He's in person with Dong.
Now, give me the scoop, Dong.
Yeah.
What's with this Flappy Bird?
Now, Dong did, although he refused, he did refuse pictures nor provide a photo of himself. I get it. Especially post being labeled as a con man, fraud, thief,
It's one of the reasons.
Nintendo bloggers in particular were pissed. You know how defensive they get about
Those
their
people
precious Nintendo.
Need to reevaluate everything
want to
that's
fight.
happened in
Like,
their
Nintendo
lives.
already said publicly, like,
Nintendo,
we're not interested in that battle. And
if you got angry at any point on Nintendo's behalf at Dong Yuan for making Flappy Bird, this message is for you. Nintendo treats you like shit.
they do.
You deserve better.
Yeah.
Not that other game companies don't treat people like shit.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Nintendo is like the least consumer-friendly company out of all of them. Yeah. And they still, like, their fans will literally die on the fucking
the guy that I
cross
was
for them.
referencing earlier, I don't know if you know a lot about that story. We should cover it one day. But he has to pay Nintendo back. Like, they're pretty much going to be siphoning his paychecks for the rest of his life.
Ooh.
And it's not even going to come close.
No. Yeah, he's going to die
millions,
before it's, And it's like, and it was like that or like an absurd amount of jail time. Like, I don't know why they made an example out of this, like, poor son.
It was like, look, I don't, like, it was like the Pal World thing. Like, I didn't particularly love Pal World, nor did I like how derivative the game was, but, like, Nintendo had to come out and make a statement that they weren't, or the Pokemon Company had to come out and make a statement with Nintendo that they weren't going to sue the creators of Pal World. Because so many people wrote to them.
They're
like,
begging them
like
to do
they
it.
They didn't know Pal World existed. It was announced at an Xbox conference. They knew it existed.
For years.
And they were like, and people were like, you got to look into this. Like, they're taking money off the table.
And
they're like, we make Pokemon, we're fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's really, what?
It's funny, though. You sounded like the best friend. You should dump him, girl.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
yes.
He's no good for you. You deserve
better. He treats you like shit. Stop.
So this
Stop
guy's
defending his shitty actions to all your friends.
This guy's getting threats, which, obviously no one deserves that. He literally fled from his parents' house to stay at a nearby friend's apartment to hide from the paparazzi mobs that were hunting him down.
Listen.
So
calling him a con man is so much of a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At worst, this dude had a fun idea for a game.
Yeah.
No, sorry. At worst, this dude played Pew Pew vs. Cactus
Yeah.
and was like, and then forgot, and then was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I have a fun idea for a game, and just didn't know enough about pixel art, so he just got a reference image and made the stuff out of a reference image, and then made the game that he never intended to be this large.
I don't know why everybody cares. Like, I don't
he's a regular matchstick man, if you know what I mean.
He is suffering from success because nobody would give a shit. There are so many games in the App Store that just are blatantly ripping off so many assets.
Right. This one
just got popular, and he was making money off of it, which, yes, is illegal. But also, it's like to think that he orchestrated this whole thing. Like,
the best.
I'm going to use Mario as, because the funny thing is, if he had made Flappy Bird with his own original art, he could have sold that shit.
That's true.
Do you know how much Rovio was fucking worth when they got sold? They just crushed the castle and put cute cartoon characters in it.
True.
And made billions.
And it's
the
like,
funny,
though,
where's the water, which nobody remembers anymore, was bought by Disney.
Right.
Like, like it Cut the Rope has like somebody owns that. That was worth like Jetpack Joyride was worth a certain amount. Like,
but
all
also,
of these
but
games,
if he had different visuals, like nobody would have noticed it. You know, like it's. But
yeah, exactly. He could have gotten famous with visuals. It could have been worth a lot more, or it could have just gone unnoticed. It doesn't. But like I'm saying, he seems like a dude that likes making games, and he made a game and just used assets that from a thing he loved and didn't think it would be an issue, and then it ruined his life essentially for a brief period.
And also like having a local rich tech celebrity was unheard of in their community,
of course.
So everyone wanted to, track him and track him down, and but I guess this Rolling Stones guy was successful and traced him. I don't know.
I mean, at the very least, his explanation for everything sounds so fucking dodgy. But I also guess he's worried about like cease and desist, and like
it seems dodgy out of fear.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't seem dodgy.
That's what I'm
dodgy
saying.
like a con man is dodgy.
Yeah.
It seems like he's like, leave me alone.
It's almost like
let me keep the worst thing he did is like, let me keep the money because it's gonna set me up for life.
Yeah.
But also fuck off because I don't want to be sued by a company that will ruin my life for real.
It definitely sounds like he's watched like law shows.
Yeah.
And the like, don't say anything until your lawyer arrives. It's like he's saying just enough to not implicate himself. So maybe that's more what I'm picking up here.
He the interview noted his shy demeanor. I was quote I was just making something fun to share with other people. Exactly. He says, I couldn't predict the success of Flappy Bird, and which is a modest statement. And this this is through a translator for the record.
Okay. Yeah.
But he also showed Kushner the endless DMs he was receiving. One from a woman chastising him for making something bad for children. Along with others yelling at him about broken phones. Like,
oh, by the way, welcome to our world, normies. Like, you don't know, like, obviously not my world. I don't throw controllers. I do get pissed off at games, but yeah, like, this is like, I just think it's funny because, like, a controller's like, what, $60-$70 nowadays? It's like you're smashing your $1,500 iPhone. Yeah, I guess it's a little bit worse.
This one's my favorite. There was an email from some susceptible office employee or like who lost their job over it.
Oh,
it's
shit.
Like, that's their, okay.
That's your fault.
That's their own stupid fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's another from a mom who is becoming distant to her kids because of it, which again is
I
her too.
Yeah.
I wonder if like, because these emails have to be in other languages, right?
Yeah.
These are not all people from around Hanoi, Vietnam.
Right.
Just imagine.
So I wonder if like
put hate mail through a translator.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like somebody emailing you and being like, I don't love my kids as much because of your game, or I lost my job because of your game. Shuffling that through Google Translate and then reading it. Maybe he was worried about like ruining people's lives with this game.
I think there were actually multiple office workers that were like, I'm not as productive.
It's like, oh, fan mail. He puts it in. I hope your head gets severed from your body, you piece of shit. And it's just like, I would go from smile to frown reading
it's
that.
It's just this weird thing where like I have some sympathy for him because whatever his reason was for taking it down and whatever his reason was for stopping, I know he's made games past this, which I'm sure you'll get to. But like the anti-capitalist is going to come out for a second. Like there are so many people who you could say whose marriages and relationships with their children and jobs were literally ruined by things like Candy Crush, which are products designed to suck money out of people who don't have it.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy just wanted to make a fun game. Like, from where I'm sitting, he wanted to make a fun game. It blew up when he didn't intend it to. And yeah, he made some money, but also he was just like, the world was just like, you don't get to be rich. Whether it's because you stole assets from Nintendo, or it's like, it's just like
this stupid French guys game.
Yeah, some people get people do this shit all the fucking time in corporate America or corporations around the world. And it's just like every once in a while people are just like, man, what an innovator. And every once in a while somebody comes along and they're like, nah, you're not one of us. Get the fuck back down.
No, you're
Justice
right.
And it's just like
this negativity like hurt him as
of course.
This shit. As somebody who often failed tests in high school due to his Counter-Strike addiction, he related to these issues.
Okay, that also makes sense.
Yeah. I just want to say, on here, Justice for Jacques. Is that the guy's name? The French developer?
I forget.
I'm just gonna. I'm coining him as Jacques.
No, the real justice is for the guy that made Helicopter, and nobody knows who he is to this day.
Yeah,
like it's.
He was probably killed in a helicopter accident. That's divine. Yeah, that's divine. The divine intervention. Just kind of that's your fate. Yeah.
So we had our answer. It wasn't.
Shouldn't have been flying through that cave.
It wasn't imposter syndrome per se, but he couldn't take the criticisms, the accusations, the attention, or loss of privacy. This never should have happened. A summary that I do agree with. It's fucking Flappy Bird, guys. Like, relax. It's like the entire world, like everyone has just collectively lost their minds.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, I mean, I think this is very common in anything that has immediate or not immediate, but like major success. Like everybody wants to figure out how they can get their hands in the pot.
Yeah.
Or the pie or
yes,
whatever.
Absolutely.
So I mean, like,
right. And a lot of times, I brought up that guitar pedal example earlier. There's a lot of times where people have a passion for something that is marketable, but they have no drive to market themselves. It's like you said, like Flash games were built on this, right?
Yeah.
Like, sure, Armor Games made money off ads, but like, Crush the Castle didn't make fucking Angry Birds numbers ever.
There aren't two CGI kids movies.
Armor Games wasn't sold for billions like Rovio was, right? Like Helicopter, nobody knows who the dude is. He made no money off it. He just liked making games, and he made a game, and people played it.
Yeah, I guess it's just like he did
it for the love of the game, and it's just like this guy reads to me as somebody who did it for the love of the game and then got successful, got his hands in the pot, and was just like, oh, and there was like, oh.
For me, the only thing he's not being on the level about is like
whether he's getting sued.
No, well, I just meant like where inspiration came from, because everyone's like, hey, this is kind of like a lot of these other things, and he's like,
I don't think I played your game.
Yeah, just be straight about that, and again, and you'll have a lot more sympathy for the other horrible shit that's happening to you.
It would have taken a simple line to just be like, yeah, like Mario, and I'm not a pixel artist, so I just made the Mario pipe.
Yeah.
But again, when everybody on the internet is yelling at you saying that you should be sued by Nintendo, you're not going to go in an interview with Rolling Stone and be like, yeah, I just stole Mario assets.
No, I guess you're
right.
You
go. Yeah. I just put the connection together.
I get the self-preservation aspect of that.
I just put it together. You go down the pipe to the water levels.
Yeah.
This dude's
and underground
fried.
levels, dude.
This guy's fried. That's it. Lock him up.
When asked if the removal was ultimately the right decision, he was happy that he could get, back to his normal life, and said, quote, "I'm a master of my own fate, an independent thinker." So, cool it on the pretentiousness.
Still
how they translate that shit. That's crazy.
He had hated his own creation, basically. His words.
I am my own Atlas.
Yeah, just like who was the inventor of the TV?
Ozymandias. Look upon my works, ye mighty in despair.
So it was.
At least he went this route, not the. I forget exactly who said the quote, but it's, "I am eater of worlds," or whatever. Who's the dude?
Wait,
I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
Yeah, there you go. At least he went that route, not that route.
So it was also in this conversation that he didn't rule out the possibility of the game ever seeing the light of day again, on the condition that it would come with a warning message to pause and take a break once in a while, not dissimilar to what the Wii used to do in response to longer play sessions.
Yeah.
But you know, on
Dude, if you really want to scrub your conscience, just put like, "Hey, let's stand up. Let's take a break. Let's not neglect our kids. Let's not neglect our job. Let's." You could just have made a whole fucking page of like all the things you don't want to do.
You didn't leave your baby in your car.
Yeah.
Did you? So on March 19th, he then tweeted that Flappy Bird would indeed return, but not anytime soon. A day later, he tells CNBC that August was to be its new re-release date, and it now ship with multiplayer capabilities and be, quote, less addictive. Not sure what that means. Yeah.
Your phone like shuts down after 3 plays.
As promised, on August 5th, a revised version under the same name would be offered exclusively on the Amazon App Store for the Fire TV.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And with those extra features.
Okay.
Oh, and the artwork was tweaked as to not give off their Mario appearance anymore.
Yeah.
There was no formal explanation for the shifting of platform. Maybe he wanted to bypass the mobile demographic, as you know, cell phones are always on our person. But I'm going to fucking assume that he was given a juicy contract deal.
Yeah.
Probably.
Even if that countered his prior stances on the financial, reward.
There's that, and staying true to his vision. I don't want to give the addicts what they want back.
Right, but the money is a non-issue because and this isn't just my personal speculation. He talked about quitting his job and buying a Mini Cooper. Don't recommend that. And purchasing a new apartment from his earnings. So, go for it, man. If you swindled him one, fuck it. Should have swindled more. But I just think it's the thing of being like, what he's doing and what he's saying don't always match up. That's why I'm conflicted.
Yeah, I take back everything I said. This dude's a con man.
Where it's like, he was like, he says to the Rolling Stone guy, he's like, I don't know if that, maybe this will come back on these, if we add this into it. Then the next day he tells CNBC, it's back and Amazon is behind it. Like, you're like, what? Like, this entire, everything I'm describing is like all within a very short.
Yeah, you said the next day.
Yeah.
You really go half cock or half dong, and then he went full dong.
Yeah, and then months later, there it is. It's out. It's back. What's funny, though, is that between the time it took to get his remaster back out, others stepped in to fill the void. Numerous spin-offs and parodies began to flood the scene. The entire concept was stolen anyway, so who cares? Right?
Yeah, why aren't you guys going after these guys?
Yeah.
Huh?
So this is hilarious. There was a Sesame Street-themed one called Flappy Bird. A Fallout Boy themed one, aptly titled Fallout Bird, a Miley Cyrus one, a Drake one. It soon was the most cloned game on Apple's App Store with over a whopping 60 fucking clones per day.
Jesus.
Flappy Wings, Splashy Fish. There was no escape.
I do vaguely remember some of these.
Yeah.
I mean, I just looked it up on the App Store. Still that way.
Yeah.
There are thousands.
And this, of course, caused both Apple and Google to step in and reject any upload with Flappy in its name. They couldn't do it for Bird because of Angry Bird.
Yeah.
Swam,
Swami, Simmy, Simpson.
CNET's Jason Parker cheekily reviewed 7 of the copycats. This is 2 days after the removal.
Yeah.
Literally, this is the tight. I already said it, but I think this is the tightest timeline we've ever tackled. Like, that's... Like, the framing of it's just... but he described the situation as, quote, pretty bleak, and that Squishy Fish was the standout with its underwater setting, or like the only one, I guess.
Wait, is that him saying it?
He said it was the closest option available for folks.
Was this Dong?
No, this is a dude from CNET.
Okay.
He's like, well, Flappy Bird's gone, so I'm gonna find you the best Flappy Bird. Yeah, alternative.
It's a top 5 list.
Even with the cracking of the whip by phone manufacturers, the rush was too much to handle. Things only got worse when those working in cybersecurity unearthed that many of these imitators were found to come packaged with malware. some so nefarious it would lead to unauthorized charges on users' phone bills. Not all had shitty intentions. Code.org, a nonprofit computer science group, would present a set of free lessons to teach students new to the field how to make their own Flappy Bird. Of course, this could have just added to the onslaught when they saw the potential to earn a quick buck. But none of this bothered our boy Dong, though. Quote, people can clone the app because of its simplicity, but they will never make another Flappy Bird.
Yeah,
That's a little pretentious.
only I can do that with stolen assets.
I'll make one. I'll make
Only
one
me.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's why I said I keep hopping about, like back and forth on whether this guy was like sort of cool, but also kind of a knob. Like it's, I don't like.
No, he's not a knob. He's a dong. All right.
In the midst of his,
Getting a lot of mileage out of that.
I can't get over it, man. This is just gold sitting in my lap.
in the midst of his newly acquired famousness. Sorry, I know we've already rewound to February again. He put out 2 other gaming apps for iOS, Super Ball Juggling, while also re-releasing Shuriken.
Come on, man.
And they
Just get off the dick-related shit. Make like a fucking tank game or something.
They did, but these did all right, placing 6th and 18th on the store rankings, respectively. He wasn't a single one-trick pony, I guess. Not that I could speak on the quality. That March, he'd announced that 3 more games of his were actively in development. One of those even saw distribution mobily shortly after the Fire Stick edition of Flappy Bird
It's
in
called
August.
Spiral Copters.
Swing Copters.
Swing Copters.
Yeah.
I remember the copter game.
It was in the same vein, except now you could tap to change the direction, allowing more horizontal and vertical movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could go up.
So he really took that helicopter idea and really elevated it. Jeez.
And this got a
true innovator.
This got a 56 on Metacritic.
Ooh.
So, Dong moving on.
Yeah, is that 2 points higher?
4 points.
Oh, okay.
4 points higher. The other one was 52.
And
Nice.
it got a sequel in late 2015 too. Can't say it wasn't prolific, even if it was all crap. And he was dropping shovelware left and right. Ninja's Assault, Droplet Shuffle, Smashing Kitty, another version of Flappy Bird called Flappy Bird Family.
Wait, Smashing Kitty?
I think they mean
It's
like
intentional now.
No, like
No, it's
smashing.
yeah,
like,
no,
it's
no, it's intentional.
fetching.
You're actually smashing cats with a hammer. That's the whole game.
God. No. Down the road there was Fabatalk, Ninja Spinky Challenges, with 2 exclamation points. In 2017,
Nice.
most recently Boop in 2022. None of which got anywhere near the level of attention as what he'd seen before.
I mean, just keep throwing shit at the fan and at the wall. And
the
see what
barrage of
sticks.
clones and other cheap cell phone garbage essentially buried them, which is like kind of hilarious that his the thing that he pulled from the store and then everybody made their own versions and that got then his own stuff got he was like a victim of his own doing or his creation. But perhaps this is what he wanted, really, that humble, quiet life. Although like I said, he took a whole lot of interviews. As for the legacy of Flappy Bird, he did license it out to Baytech Games, owners of Skee-Ball and Supershot, to produce a coin ops cabinet for arcades, as Austin referenced.
Yeah.
Wait,
In case you were looking to
really
waste your money there. Yeah.
It's really in Dave & Buster's?
I don't know if the one that I saw in Dave & Buster's was officially
I've seen
Flappy
it
Bird.
before.
He did this, and then a lot of other companies. It's not hard to make.
No, I know.
same
That's
thing
what I'm saying. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of mobile adaptations be transferred into.
How much do you think a Flappy Bird arcade cabinet's worth?
Outside of that,
hopefully less than a phone with Flappy Bird on it.
Outside of that, there was a shit ton of Easter eggs throughout the years. Android Lollipop allowed their users to customize a modified version entitled L-Land, which involved replacing the fish guy with a flying android while the pipes were turned into lollipop. It later got revamped in Marshmallow to support 6 people.
All right.
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking
We're gonna play.
Is
we're
that
gonna
the operating
play a
system?
guessing
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
How much do you think the Flappy Bird arcade cabinet costs MSRP?
10 grand.
MSRP.
Yeah.
25 grand.
No, you're too high.
Oh, thank God.
15?
You're both too high.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
8,000.
How much?
10,000.
Lower.
Really? Lower? This is
I
cheap.
said 10,000.
Yeah.
4,000.
Close. Higher.
4,500.
Damn.
Mm.
4,800.
6,900.
Wait, lower? 4,200.
No.
$5 grand.
Lower than 6,900.
55 grand.
Oh.
55,000.
5,500.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
How does that not in like every bar in like
Yeah.
the city? Like that's fucking cheap.
Oh, wait, there's 2 of them.
Ooh, one's collector's edition.
No, one of them has prizes.
Oh, of course.
Look at this shit.
What?
There's like it's got like Funko Pops that you can win by doing good Flappy Bird stuff.
Oh yeah,
Oh
I feel
my
like I've
God.
seen this.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah,
to,
that's
we
pretty
need
cool.
to find one of these just in the
I'm
like.
gonna pay him $55.
No. Not. I didn't say buy one. I said find one. Oh my god.
Just get on the horn and contact every barcade and
I think there are official. Yeah, exactly. I think there's plushies of that.
The bird?
Yeah, Fabby out there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There was a mod to replace it within Super Mario World by code injection. And there was playable.
You know what? Fuck this dude. Because if he's worried about addiction, putting it in an arcade where you have to pay every time you play and you can win prizes
Yeah, right.
goes against everything he said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just gambling. Like,
Yeah.
wait, did he seek out the company to sell it as a
No,
cabinet?
they definitely
they sought him out, and then he just was like, sure.
I think once he was...
War's coming to an end.
I think once...
They have to start
All right.
contacting
No.
people.
We're rewinding. Okay, so new strategy.
Yeah.
He removes it from the App Store.
Tonight.
Nintendo backs off,
Yeah.
Right.
and then once the coast
And
is
Amazon steps
Yeah.
in.
then once the coast is clear, you get that Amazon bag. You
Yeah.
get that M&P Amusements
He was playing
bag.
the long game.
He's like, I know I can't sell this
I wish this was
company.
planned because otherwise that'd be
Yeah.
brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
because everyone when he when he
Next thing
took
you
the
know-
game down, everybody was like, "What are you doing?" And
Yeah.
then now it's like,
I can see it now. Next thing you know is T-shirts and Flappy Birds. And
yeah,
then,
the
cock
animated
covers.
series.
cock covers, the animated series, the fucking
Brand some condoms.
yeah.
Who cares? Fuck it.
Yeah, the fucking machine in the arcades. No, it's interesting. I
You
think
have to pump at the right speed or the condom breaks.
that's pretty good.
Now that's gambling.
And then you hear thwap as it hits the surface of your dick.
There's a leaderboard
Yeah,
for how long people last.
that's
Crazy.
So,
that's great.
what is it? Like people were still like Flappy Bird still kind of made its way into just our osmosis. There are playable references to it in Goat Simulator, as well as of 2023, a dwarf mining game, Deep Rock Galactic, as part of their Season 4 update.
Isn't
Named
there?
Jetty Boot.
Am I wrong, or was there a Flappy Bird mini game in Infinite Wealth?
Not that I remember.
Well, you would know.
Yeah, I
A
wasn't-
game that there was a game that I played recently that had a side activity that was Flappy Bird,
Yeah. I'm not
and I
I'm
remember
not surprised.
specifically because I was like, I fucking hate Flappy Bird, but
Yeah.
like whatever game I was playing, I had to get a certain high score in Flappy Bird
Yeah.
in order to like unlock something in the actual game.
But these nods were abundant. And I'm not even going to bring up Flappy Tom because I don't care. This disease has to end, damn it. One last sort of interesting tidbit here, though, is that for New Year's Eve in 2014, Google compiled a list of their most searched phenomena for that year. This while also displaying an animated Google Doodle with the titular character on it. But yeah, the global sensation and preceding mess ranked it only below the World Cup, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
The Philae Lander, otherwise known as the first spaceship to land on a moving comet. And
the philanderer?
is that
No, I'm kidding.
And the late great Robin Williams.
It's crazy that the spaceship landing on the comet was the thing I didn't know from that list.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember the Ice Bucket Challenge and Robin Williams, unfortunately, but not the comet thing. Seems like the most important one, or the most. Robin Williams is important, but
Just where this stupid little ripoff video game found itself, like it's. I don't mean to sound mean. It's just like ridiculous. I don't like.
its legacy is so interesting, and we could double the length of this podcast just talking about the legacy of Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
Because like it was at the forefront of the modern age of the Massacre game. obviously not like the, you had like I Want to Be the Guy and stuff like that. But this spawned a million clones of itself, but it also spawned like the success of like stuff like Jump King and Getting Up or Getting Over It.
Yeah.
And
it's the
even
simplest
like
version
Only
too.
Up. Yeah.
There's no barrier for entry.
No,
Yeah.
it's like you're right. It is at the like
it was right at the dawn of the Twitch era. That was like
I was about to say watching other people play games. Like
that was like a year before Amazon bought Twitch.
Yeah.
And after that, like so many games have come that are just hard for the sake of being hard, so people can watch other people play them.
You want to see folks get mad.
And but also it's at the dawn of like the arcades are dying, so let's turn these mobile games into arcade games era. It's
need to fill those Dave and Buster's
at the dawn of the mobile app thing.
It really was like the perfect
it is such moment. A weird flashpoint of like all of these things that have existed to this day. And everybody remembers Flappy Bird, but you don't realize just how much of its tentacles have reached into other parts of this industry.
So that's it for fucking Flappy Bird.
Wait.
I'm actually kind of mad this all got to be this important.
He didn't get murdered?
I know. I don't know what we learned, but luckily the trend settled down and people moved on to bigger and better things. Nguyen's still out there making stuff with Doc Gears. Good for him. No clue about Keck. I just wonder who the OG creator of Helicopter is. Like, like I said, there's been attempts to trace him down, and none proved successful.
Hopefully, one of his grandchildren will be like, "You guys will never believe this." It's like a TikTok post. My granddad is the creator of Helicopter. Just never gets traction. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
It is funny to just like how much they changed the industry, and yet they may not have the slightest clue in doing so. I mean, idiots are still selling their Flappy Bird tainted phones on eBay. As of this recording, they're going from $50 to $100 on average, now. So
oh wow, the market tanked.
Yeah. Despite listers asking for way more. I'd rather spend my money on a Wii U with meme run on it, and that isn't a joke. But yeah, the clones continue. Jetpack Joyride was popular enough to get a sequel. That was also popular. Mobile clone. I mean, that game is more involved, but you can still see the foundation there. Mobile clones in general are still a problem. It happened with Candy Crush and Threes and Wordle. Can't help that.
What do you think do you think Flappy Bird is the most cloned mobile game of all time?
Well, so that's what I'm curious of, because match 3 games feel like they would be, right?
Right. Well,
because it's so easy.
It's a weird thing where it's like Flappy Bird is not complicated nor monetizable enough.
For
big people to copy it. Whereas you have like games like Bejeweled.
Yeah.
Not that was the first match 3, but like take your match 3 thing. It's like think of a movie or franchise that came out and just look it up on the iOS store. They probably have a match 3 version. There's like a match 3 Harry Potter game. There's a match 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. Like. And then you have, like, on top of that, you also have, like, Temple Run.
Yeah.
Temple Run was not nearly as successful as Flappy Bird.
Oh.
But then that spawned Subway Surfers. And then after Subway Surfers got popular, there's, like, a Sonic Endless Runner.
I was thinking about, was the Endless genre, or the Endless Runner genre, was the first one Pepsi Man?
That I don't know.
I don't think so.
That was, like, the late 90s on PS1.
Yeah, maybe.
Wait, wasn't Pepsi Man? Wasn't that 3D?
Yeah, it was. But it was like Temple Run.
It still wasn't. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right.
Was it an Endless Runner though?
Well, there was the Newgrounds comic or building jumper, and then Bit Trip came out shortly after that. But
what was the Cannibal?
What was the 7-Up game?
Cool Spot.
Yeah,
Cool Spot. That was a platformer.
Yeah.
Shit. That was really. And then
Archero came out. I think that's the modern version of this.
Okay.
Where you ever play Archero?
Mm-mm.
You're a dude with a bow and arrow, and basically you just drag on the screen to move around, and you're in a room with enemies, and when you stop moving, you start
Bowman?
You start shooting. No, it's not like Bowman.
So it's like
the
carnival game.
Like a light gun game?
Or a carnival game where you have to shoot the targets. When you stop, that's when you have to tap the targets.
Oh,
I'm assuming?
No, not really.
No.
It's hard to explain. It's like a top-down isometric game, and you're in a room full of enemies, and you run, and then when you stop running, you start shooting
Right.
automatically.
Oh,
It's
okay.
kind of like a little bit of a predecessor
yeah,
to
I get what you're
Vampire
saying.
Survivors
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
way.
yeah.
And
I got
but
you.
yeah, that they made like a Tomb Raider version of that and a Doom version of that, and a lot of game companies like basically anything that had guns in it copied that formula and made an iOS version that they could monetize. And
Oh,
Man,
you
I
know
can't
what?
keep,
Speaking of which, the Go games that came out. Like
Oh,
Hitman
yeah,
Go,
yeah.
Tomb Raider
and
Go,
Hitman Go.
yeah. Those I actually
That was
remember
cool.
playing one of them. Those
Yeah.
weren't bad.
That was a neat little like initiative they had for a while.
But I look at that and I go, okay, this is like a cheap Steam game that is easily put on.
oh, there's more production value there than.
That's what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't look at it as a crappy bird or
Yeah.
Flinging my bird.
Crappy bird.
Here's the thing.
Is there just the title of the episode?
The thing about Hitman Go and Tomb Raider Go and
Mhm.
Deus Ex Go is that like
I forgot there's a Deus Ex.
there's a lot of production in them,
Mhm.
and they're well designed. It's like, because Tomb Raider is a perfect example. Tomb Raider Go is a really good game. Did it need to be Tomb Raider? No.
No.
And it was probably easier
Yeah.
to make than a Tomb Raider, obviously, but
Right.
like they also made an Archero clone with Lara Croft in it.
Oh, really?
And it's crazy because it's so much worse than Archero is.
Hmm.
It's like at least Tomb Raider Go had somebody tried.
Yeah.
It's
So
There
what
was a
we're
vision.
saying is that Flappy Bird is the Archero of the
mobile
other.
games industry?
Yeah.
No, because Archero is the Archero of the mobile games industry.
It's the original Archero.
Flappy Bird is the Nickelback.
yeah. Remember what John Romero said?
Yeah, Flappy Bird is Nickelback.
So real quick.
Wait, who's dumb?
I wanna-
Chad Kroger.
I
Is
I
that
want
his
to
name?
thank the
think so.
the Rolling Stone magazine, Forbes, Business Insider, Polygon, IGN, The Verge, USA Today, Tech Buffalo, The Independent, CNET, The Huffington Post, The Daily Telegraph, the BBC, the CNBC, the CBS, Kotaku, Digital Trends, TechCrunch, Tech Times, Daily Express, Eurogamer. There's Vietnamese newspapers I can't pronounce, and the way back.
And also, new friend of the podcast, David Kushner.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout outs to Dong. It's crazy that we have covered stories on here.
Shout out to VanFuck.
No offense.
Yeah.
No offense to Flappy Bird. We have covered, or your writing. We have covered stories on here that are far more interesting.
Yeah.
And the sources are sparse.
Yeah.
And you look up Flappy Bird, and there are millions
Right,
of
that's what I'm
articles.
saying. Like I was before I started researching, I was like, well, this is going to be a quiet little, probably simple episode. And then I was like, everybody wrote about this, and like half
Everybody.
of them interviewed him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, what the fuck?
He must have had a tour van.
Yeah, it's like, did
When
he
he
have
was
a
out on a
manager?
press tour, yeah.
come here. I'll
Okay,
sign,
He had
I'll
a
sign your phone.
a publicist.
At 2:30 we have Gizmondo. At 3:30 we have
TechCrunch.
TechCrunch.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
man.
going to be no time to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get on the bus. Get on the bus.
Stupid. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Sean.
It was a good one.
Let's boogie. Yeah.
Yeah. Plugs.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
What the fuck other episode it would even... The last two have been
we did a
weird
mobile.
ones.
We did a mobile game before. Fallout
did?
Shelter.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And also it had to do with stolen assets. So
It did.
It works out.
Yeah. I guess check that out. That episode and many more at hotbuttoncast.com. Also follow on all the podcast services. And Hot Button Podcast, and also our socials, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Hot Button Cast.
Yeah.
And we'll be back in due time with another
Keep
episode.
on tapping.
Flapping.
And flapping.
Keep
Flap that bird, baby.